What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim in Green Bay, who is had to have his camera off for a second. He's trying to get rid of that DK Metcalf jersey on eBay. He just bought earlier today. So obviously we got news popping off here. Matter of fact, Tim, I think we got breaking news right now, don't we, sir? So, fresh off the press, DK Metcalf is a Pittsburgh Steeler. All right. It says, so DK went to the Steelers for a second-round pick. It looks like the early reports of the contract is 5 years, over $150 million.
Get your money, DK. Get your money.
I've seen someone
else overpaid.
I see some people saying 35 million a year, others saying 33. I've heard other people report just 5 years, 150 flat. Nonetheless, boy, that's a lot of money. And the rumors were true on that front. He was seeking $30 million. And you guys know that some of us got laughed at over that. Oh, no way he's worth that much. It'll be less than that. And then they also scoffed at the fact that they thought that they were going to get anything more than a third-round pick for him. Well, both are true. So DK Metcalf now a Pittsburgh Steeler. How are we feeling about it, boys? I kind of feel like we dodged a bullet personally. But
could be a crackhead. You got hold to the wrong stuff.
What do you think, Jake?
Good for DK. Good for Pittsburgh, I guess. Totally cool.
Packers.
Yeah, I that money is no money that I wanted to pay that guy. So it's cool with me.
Guys, he didn't even crack 1,000 yards. Last year he was 107 targets, 900 yards. It's like, I don't know. Brent in Indiana says, everybody shut up. We're firing Goot. All right. Margin Cron. LA has over 75 Taco Bells. Green Bay only has 5. And of course, he's referring to the other breaking news here. Let's just go ahead and get to it. I appreciate that, Tim. Ian Rappaport tweeted out, the newest member of the LA Rams is Davante Adams. So he's going to the Rams. Gets a 2-year deal worth $46 million with $26 million guaranteed. So essentially a 1-year, $26 million deal. And then we'll see is what it kind of feels like there. So he wanted to stay on the West Coast. Hey, you guys know the number I put on him. I would love to see him in Green Bay at about 15 milli. So this is way out of my ballpark. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Tim, I don't even want to ask you about DK, but if you want to revisit that as well, you can, sir. What do you think about these two? This news breaking on these two receivers this evening, man?
Well, I'm happy that, DK got his wish and he got to go to a warm weather climate team and, didn't want to play in the cold. I'm glad that worked out for him. And I'm not super surprised that Tay went to the Rams. I'm really not. Good for him. I guess we're out of the mix, and I guess that means Jaden Higgins, you are a Packer. Round 2 of the draft. Let's go. But no, it's all good. I'm actually pretty happy. I had a feeling, somebody was going to overpay for DK, and they did. And again, not surprised that Tay's on the West Coast where he wanted to stay. At least Davante means what he says. Apparently, wanted to stay on the West Coast, and he's going to stay on the West Coast. So good for Tay, man. I will say this: keep your eyes peeled for Cooper Kupp. That wouldn't shock me if tomorrow we wake up to Cooper Kupp finding a new place to play football. Now that we know Tay is over there.
It should happen pretty quick, right? Like if the Rams were going to try to hold out and negotiate with other receivers and maybe drag their feet a little bit, you'd have a little more hope that Cooper's going back. Now, for the right price, he could go back to the Rams, right? That's wild to think about, Jacob. Matthew Stafford throwing to Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Davante Adams. If that were to happen, Lord have mercy. And Kyron Williams in the backfield. So I think they still got Higbee at tight end. Yep. McVay, man. McVay going to have a lot of tools to work with out there in LA, that's for sure. So let's see. We got a super chat here from Mike. I'm telling you, Josh Palmer, fellas. So he's standing on that Josh Palmer to Green Bay. Could happen, Mike. It could. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but depends on the price. Like I always say. What is his market? Did we hit that earlier today, guys? Am I thinking right?
I thought we did. I don't remember what it was. Maybe 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. He's not on the trade block, right? Is he officially a free agent yet? That's the question. There he is, Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer's market value I can get this to load. It's struggling. Everybody's lighting it up right now. 4.3 million.
Yeah.
A little, like I said, a little more tolerable. If you're under 5 million, I don't consider hardly anything a reach, to be honest with you. You know. So,
Yep.
And we talked about, I think Mike pointed out in the morning show, what was it, 15 yards per reception, if I remember right. So he is somewhat of a deep threat. I think a bigger body receiver too, if I remember right. But only 25 years old. He played for the Chargers last year. So I don't know. What do you think, Jacob, about Tay? You haven't talked on Tay yet, right? What do you think about Tay going to the Rams, man?
I mean, same situation as DK. It's like I'm happy for him, but nowhere near what I was willing to pay for his services. So, he wanted to be on the West Coast, like Tim said. That's where he's going to be. McVay's got to be a pretty happy dude right now. I mean, that guy's got an absolute chessboard to play with on the offensive side of the ball there. So it's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know who marked it. I put it up there. I guess somebody wanted to see this. Brent in Indiana says, every time I get on here, you guys just lick Goody's blank. This is wide receiver and pass rush league. We have neither.
Really?
That's interesting. All right. Hey, thank you for your opinion, Brent. And hey, appreciate the kind words there, sir, too.
Yeah.
Also.
I'll let Rome and Wicks and Reed and the boys know that we don't have any receivers in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I just crack up how people, when they don't get their way, they just kick and scream and they go straight to the insults. That's what cracks me up. It's like, I know people probably don't see it. They don't look outside of their, I wonder how this looks to the rest of the world. They just, I didn't get what I wanted. You're a bad person. Just strange. It's really weird for a grown man to resort to insulting people because they have a differing opinion about a sports team. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Just a little odd. But anyway, Brent, appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Hit that like button for us. I'm going over here, okay? But, anyway.
Here's the guy.
Right. I just don't understand it. Anyway, all right. So DK going to Pittsburgh, right? We've got Tay obviously going to the LA Rams. There's a bunch of other news that broke too. Speaking of like what Tim said, people not meaning what they say and saying what they mean, right?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. You guys remember the letter he wrote, right? Saying, man, I appreciate everything y'all did, but it's always been about winning a championship. And I'm requesting a trade. I want to go play somewhere where I can win a championship. And he agreed to a $40 million per year deal with the Browns. He literally said, "Hey guys, I ain't playing here. I want to have a shot to win a ship." And of course, they said, "How about 40 bones?" He went, "You know what? Deal. Yeah, it ain't too bad."
Yeah, he can go buy his own Super Bowl ring like Za'Darius did, right?
Which, by the way, OZ got cut today too, right? From the Lions.
Oh yeah,
yes, he did.
I didn't even realize did he have any time left on his deal? Was that just kind of a favor to him to cut him outright and there was no time left? That way he didn't have to wait.
I thought he was on a 1 year last year with.
I thought so too.
Yeah. So all that's left is for Z to go to the Bears, right? He'll complete the circle of life in the NFC North.
Yeah, that would complete the cycle for sure, man.
I actually could see that.
I know.
Bears need some edge rotation too.
And it looks like the majority of the people in the chat and people that's been communicating with me today, they agree that the whole DK for $30 million per is just too much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I'm just reading. You know who's really mad about that is Cincinnati now, because before they've re-signed their two big stars, DK walks in and he's like, "I'll take 33 per," and now they're looking at each other like, "Oh no." Did y'all see the Aaron Jones re-signing as well?
Yes.
Like that one hurts me more. I swear. It's a little tough to swallow still. Aaron Jones, I'm really honestly happy for him though. I think it was 2 years, $20 million. So let's get it.
So 1 year, yeah.
So Brent in Indiana comes back with the olive branch, the $4.99 super sticker. Maybe that super sticker was for the sound effects I made. I don't know, but Brent, thank you so much for that super sticker, man. Appreciate it. Aaron Jones, Vikings are re-signing running back Aaron Jones to a 2-year, $20 million deal per Adam Schefter. I haven't heard about the guarantee. Has anybody heard anything on the guarantee there?
haven't seen it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's probably $10 million guaranteed, something like that, like a 1 year, $10 million deal. I think it's a good signing for them. I hate to see him back in Minnesota because I thought he was effective. And I know there's some people that believe, oh, no, we made the right move. And I think we did with Josh Jacobs between the two. But my stance is still, man, for $1 million more, we could have kept him. And that would have prevented a division rival from getting him. And we'd have arguably the best backfield in the league. That one still hurts, right? But, of course, I know I won't get credit for criticizing Goody on that. I'll just get, bashed for agreeing with something he does.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris Freeman says $13 million guaranteed for Aaron Jones. So a little bit more than I expected. That's a good deal for Aaron. Good deal for Aaron. Now the question is, who's their quarterback going to be, right? That's the big one. Badger Trio with the super chat. If the Bucs let him walk, Godwin's solid pick if possible. Been pretty vocal too, Badger Trio. That's my top pick in all the receivers. Like last year, it was easy right at the top. Xavier McKinney was my top pick. When you look at wide receiver and go, okay, if we're definitely going all in on a wide receiver, Godwin is the one that checks all the boxes for me personally. It's still a lot of money, right? And I do want to say this. You guys remember the calculated market value for Davante Adams was $14 million. He ended up getting 22. Was it 22 million per? So that's probably a pretty good indication of when you see these wide receiver projected contracts like market value, they're going to be significantly under, right? Teams are still overpaying for wide receivers, believe it or not. So, yeah. So, what do you guys think about Godwin? We still on board with that one, or
definitely?
I think that'd be my only real target that I'm looking at still, other than the possibility of Cooper Kupp. I still am interested in that. I really am. I think we could dust him off and at least get one good year out of him. But Doc says I'm faster than Kupp. I don't think you are. I'm gonna bet you not.
Believe it. And we'll see you at the draft there, sir, doctor. We're gonna get you on that 40-yard dash and see if that's true. Yeah. So again, Badger Trio, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I'm on board with the Godwin pickup for sure. It just depends, depends on what the market's going to be for him. I know this. You could look at it one of two ways. Like as these receivers fly off the board and go to their new destination, you're seeing the pool dwindle down now. But obviously, these are teams that felt like they needed to go get a receiver right out the bat. I think the longer he sits out, it's typically after the first or second day of free agency, their value starts to drop a little bit. So if we get to day 2 or day 3 of free agency, or hell, even halfway through the day tomorrow, and you're not seeing a whole lot of interest in Godwin, we might be able to swoop in there and get quite the deal on him. That might end up being somewhere between 15 and 20 million per, if you could pull that off. And again, I have no inside information, obviously, on whether or not Goody's interested in Godwin. That's the one that kind of, like I said, checks all the boxes for me. Chuck says Godwin's price just went up. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. To me, I'm always kind of glancing at supply and demand, right? There's a weaker supply now, but the teams that really want a wide receiver, they've got their guy, right? At least 2 of them, or 3 of them, really. So
there's a shocking amount of MVS love going on in the chat, and I am not Doc. You sabotaged it, and now it's spreading like a cancer.
I think he's hacked everybody's YouTube. Is what I think happened. It's Doc putting this in on everybody else's name. Has anybody's opinion changed on MBS? Is he the answer or no?
The answer, no.
Has anybody looked?
He's the answer. What's the question?
Yes, exactly.
Has anybody looked at his PFF? Have we even taken a glance at it lately?
I have not.
I'm going to do it real quick, just for craps and giggles here.
Guys, it's even official. Even Afham's out on his favorite Chief. It's got to be bad. Yeah.
No,
well, since got real, out, I might be in. You know what I mean? I'm about to make my mind. Let's see here. So he was with the Saints last. I didn't even know that. All right, let's see. PFF grades, sir. Offense. All right, let's read off this career PFF grades for MVS real quick. 60, 57, 60, 66, 64, 52, 61 last year. He was in Buffalo and New Orleans.
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
I will say this. MVS went to Kansas City and they won 2 Super Bowls. They didn't bring him back and they didn't get the job done. So.
He was the
Stop
best
laughing.
guy around.
Ari Iron Miner says MVS is in our price range. What is that? 1.2 million already. I don't know. Right. Chuck Jagger says MVS talk is crazy. Dude runs like 8 miles a game to get 2 touchdowns every 7 games.
Ready to go.
I think that needs to be the poll question, but you got to make it. You got to make it specific, though. You know what I mean? You can't just put, would you like MVS? It's got to be for the price, right? Let's see what his market value is. 1.5 million. I'm going to put, the poll question is going to be, is MVS the answer to our wide receiver problems? How about that? That sound good to y'all?
Yeah, that'll work.
Talk about something else while I top this out, boys.
I mean, I don't know. I'd rather pay Amari Cooper at this point.
Here's an interesting tidbit that I'm looking at here. It says the Seahawks hired Clint Kubiak to be their offensive coordinator. Since then, they've traded Geno Smith, traded DK Metcalf, and cut Tyler Lockett. You think that dude's looking in the mirror like, what the did I get into here? Like, why did I take this job? That is
great point. Poll questions up, boys. Is MVS the answer to our wide receiver problems in Green Bay? I'm trying not to laugh, topping it out. We'll see how everybody votes, though. We'll see how many burner accounts Doc's got in here. So, obviously, Aaron Jones back to Minnesota on that 2-year deal, which, like I said, they could get out of it after 1. I'm going to comb through Twitter again here in a second. We're just going to do a quick rundown of everything we've seen so far. I keep mentioning these backers because, obviously, Quay, if we don't pick up the 5th-year option by the end of April, Christian's going to get a couple dozen donuts from me. And also they're going to be looking –
a couple dozen Krispy Kreme donuts.
That's a big difference between donuts.
You can't get them cheap gas station donuts. You got to get the real deal.
Tim, those gas station donuts never let me down. That Sunday morning when I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get home when I was in my 20s, it's like, man, that gas station
donut from the night before.
Oh, it soaks a lot of that alky up. You know what I mean? We get on with your day. That sugar, but So we're obviously there's a chance that Goody's trying to re-sign Quay. I mean, everything he said, take it for what you want, what you will. It sounds like he wants Quay back. What's the market going to be for Quay? That's the question, right? So the Jets are re-signing linebacker Jamian Sherwood to a 3-year, $45 million contract at just 25 years old. Sherwood is coming off a career-high 158 tackles last season and was voted team MVP by his teammates. So I feel like I want this to be a fair comp, a fair, conversation. In terms of Quay, this dude obviously had a better year than Quay did. Right now, if Quay goes out and has a year like this coming year, and they decide to extend him before he hits free agency, that's the type of money we're looking at. You're looking at well over $10 million per. It's kind of where you're sitting now. We can't 5th-year option him. It's going to be a lot more difficult, obviously, because outside linebackers in the 34 defense are coupled into figuring what that 5th-year option amount is, and it's well over $20 million. So, what do you guys think? Would you sign Quay to a 3-year, $45 million deal, Jacob? Let me start with you.
Oh,
I
boy.
know this answer.
3-year, $45 million.
Yeah, 3-year, $45 million. And it didn't give specifics on the guarantee, but you got a pretty good idea of what the guarantee probably would be. So
I would, depending on, do I get to see how he plays this next year?
Yes, I think you could. Yeah, but with the understanding that if he goes out and balls out, that number is going to be even higher, right? But
I would rather let him. I would rather watch him and show that he actually deserves the money, and then pay him slightly more than pay him the bag without him showing me at this point what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I would unfortunately probably let him walk.
Yeah, got it. I understand that completely. Like that's kind of where I would be too. Is like let's see if those 2 or 3 games down the stretch where he was looking really good is the new Quay in this defense, right?
I really do think that his play could be drastically elevated by the resurgence or the appearance of Edgerrin Cooper. If he gets to lose the green dot, or if he gets to just focus on whatever he does better, and Edge can maybe be more of that like take the weight of the world on his shoulders type linebacker, where Quay maybe has a lot less on his plate and can be a little more honed in his game. I think that could absolutely make him a better player. So we'll see.
Right. And to give a fair comp, Tim, to get your answer here, this is 3 years, $45 million, right? Okay, the next one is going to be, I apologize for the dogs. I don't know what's going on. They're having a damn party or something. I don't know what's going on downstairs. Linebacker Ernest Jones, He and the Seahawks agreed to terms on a 3-year contract extension worth $33 million. So whatever it was, 40-some million, 45 million, as opposed to 33 million, a little closer to 10 million per, with 15 million guaranteed, keeping him with Seattle. So that's another comp to what we've seen from Quay to this point, probably closer to this number next year than it would, obviously, the guy that was voted by his teammates as team MVP. But what do you think? What would be the number you put on Quay? You're definitely the biggest Quay fan of everybody on the show. I think we all like him. It's just we're different places on what we think his true value is,
Yeah, I'm north of 10 million, but not by much. So I understand the sentiment that, 15 plus million is a bit much. And I also agree, with the sentiment that Jacob and a lot of fans have, which is I'd like to see another year in Halfley's system and kind of get an idea of what you're really paying for. But I'm not willing to go as far as letting Quay just walk. But I do agree. I think Jacob brings up a good point. Like, yeah, you're right. If you let him play this season and, you go to the drawing table and try and work a deal after that, if he balls out, the number's going to go up significantly. But you definitely feel more comfortable paying that money, knowing that he's got another year under his belt. So, I kind of agree to disagree, but still agree, if that makes any sense at all.
2025, it makes perfect sense, buddy. Josh Martin with the super chat. Thanks so much, Josh. Appreciate you, man. He says, do you think Jair gets traded or cut tomorrow? I think there's a chance it could happen tomorrow, right? It's kind of that first day where we feel like, all right, the window is truly open to make something happen. Albeit, I mean, how many trades have we seen up to this point, guys? Was that the first trade we've seen? I mean, think about it. There's been a lot of trade talk, but
yeah. Are you talking about DK to Pittsburgh? Yeah.
Was there any more, Jacob? Am I missing one, man?
I thought there was one more.
Feels like there was a bunch, but I'm thinking that might have been the only one up to this point. But the reason I say that is because, all right, that dam is kind of broke now, right? So maybe teams will push it along a little bit if they are trying to trade for Jair. But I'm also of the opinion, again, Josh, thank you for the super chat. And thanks for bringing this up, man. Mike Hebring says, hold on to Jair until teams are desperate. No hurry. He's under contract. And again, like also another thing, Mike, and I know you know this and all of our listeners do too, I'm sure. You wait post June 1, whether you declare it a post June 1 or you just wait till June 1. The longer you wait, the better for the Packers, to be honest with you. It kind of feels that way. So, and the longer we wait, if he decides, hey, well, the market wasn't what I thought it was for me, let's do a restructure, get me a little bit more guaranteed money. We can lower the cap number, that type of thing. That might make sense in the long run. I'm still not ruling out Jair coming back. It's just, if we went through all of this for the second year in a row for him to return to Green Bay, it's going to be like, man, can we, when we sit down to restructure a deal, if he doesn't get traded or cut, right? When we sit down to talk about this, can we both come to an agreement like us? Hey, can we just not do this again? Can we just kind of honor the contract and let's put everything behind us rather than every damn year there's some kind of comment being made, there's something going on to create drama. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Hopefully they can be adults in the room and get that done, because that is frustrating as a fan. It really is.
I think you're right, Clay. I think that was the only actual trade. I'm looking through all the news and notes, and that's all I can find.
There you go. All right. And again, Josh, thank you for asking that question, man. Jake Shavink in the chat earlier said, put Seattle on Ted McMillan's list. We had him already, if you'll remember. And guys, we did a little exercise. I think it was it earlier this morning when we did it, or was that last? I think it was last night.
It was last night, yeah.
Yeah. So last night we did a little exercise and said, okay, how many teams truly would be in the Ted McMillan market, right? Like they need a receiver, and it would legit be, there'd be a decent shot for them to draft him, right? The 6th pick, the 9th pick, the 12th pick, the 17th pick, the 20th pick, the 21st pick, the 22nd pick before we pick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, what? Seven teams could legit take him before us, and it would make all the sense in the world. And then, of course, when we get to that point, the guys ask me the question, all right, so if he's sitting there at 23, you taking him? What was my answer? Probably not. All this for that to be the answer, but it's tough, man. It's tough to pull the trigger on a wide receiver in the first round, in my opinion, man, based off the success we've had with the second-round picks and all that in the past. So I don't know. But, yeah, I agree with you there, Jake. I think Seattle would definitely be in the market. Coach Lynn, Nick Westbrook, Icon, Am I saying that right?
Akeen, yeah.
So another name to look out for. 2-0 for this. Tyler Lockett would be a decent option for the right price. Yeah. I don't know, Jacob, do you have Tyler Lockett's PFF grades? I think we hit on them briefly last night. Do we have any idea what his grades look like from last year? And I'll see if I can find the market value for Tyler Lockett, as I've got it right here. Tyler Lockett's value, again, guys, numbers are going to hit over top of these. It's obvious now, right? But his calculated market value is $7.7 million per. All right.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of what we say. Like, that number is based off of similar production and what contracts those players got. But the market isn't what we think it is. The market is what someone else is willing to pay for said player. And if somebody's willing to pay DK Metcalf $30 million per, somebody's probably going to pay Tyler Lockett more than $7 million. Go ahead, Jacob. What's his grade?
So he's actually had a pretty good career. This last year was a 65.2, which is the lowest he's ever had in his career. The year before, he was a 78.1. Year prior, 77.9. 2021, he was an 81 flat. 2020, 76. 2019, 81. 2018, 82. 2017, 67. 2016, 68. And his rookie year, he was a 75.9. So definitely a little bit of regression going on, but not as drastic as I would expect.
There you go. All right. Appreciate it, man. Ron Sanville, Pickens and DK, what could possibly go wrong, man? Listen, Ron, I thought
not having a quarterback to throw him the ball, maybe.
I thought the same thing about. I think he's being sarcastic because both of those guys are huge personalities. Pickens is a strange cat, and DK has not been the most stable person from the way it seems. Now I know if you mention that, you're labeled a racist. You're labeled an old white guy. That was mentioned in the chat because somebody said they didn't want DK. So you got to be careful with that stuff. If you disagree with a player, coming to your team, you get labeled all kinds of things. But Pickens and DK, man, I could see them both wanting the targets. And let's be honest, if Justin Fields ends up being the quarterback for Pittsburgh, right, or they go draft a quarterback, whatever it is. How the heck is he going to control the quarterback room or the wide receiver room when it's DK and Pickens? That just sounds like an Antonio Brown situation all over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we'll see, man.
I think if anyone can handle it, it's Mike Tomlin, though.
Yeah. To me too, like Tomlin's shine's kind of wore off a little bit. Like it's been so long since they've done anything that he just kind of always gets a pass. The Antonio Brown thing, when that happened in the locker room, they got rid of him pretty quick, didn't they, Tim? Am I thinking right? Like he didn't stick around much longer.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's a strong leader for sure. Mike Hebring, Lazard.
Oh, God.
Nah, I think Jacob summed it up wrong. Exactly. Jake Shavik, Tutu Atwell got 1 year, $10 million. MVS probably gets $8 to $10 million. It wouldn't surprise me. Again, his market value was showing 1.5, but I can't believe we're talking this much about MVS. If I click on MVS, his last contract he got, 1 year deal at 30 years old for the Saints was only $1.1 million. Jake, I must be way higher on Tutu Atwell than you are, Jake. I really like Tutu. I thought he's a solid player. But MVS, I've never really looked at like that. He's got blazing speed. He's got pretty good height. But, maybe he will, though, man. Maybe he will get more than expected there. I'm trying to see. It's not really showing. His last deal he got was in Kansas City. He signed in 2022. That overall cap hit, I guess you could say, $4.8 million. And then 2029, it jumped to $10.9 million. But I think they actually voided it out in 2024, and then that's when he goes to the Saints, obviously. So
I've got two receivers on the brain that can I mention?
Heck yeah, dude. Let's hear it.
Two free agent receivers that are under 30 years old and will be well below $10 million.
All right.
KJ Osborne.
Hey.
We talked about KJ Osborne, 27 years old. I believe he's a free agent. And the other one is DJ Chark from the Chargers, 28 years old. I believe they're going to be in that $4 to $8 million range, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on those two guys?
DJ Shark, I remember back in the day when he was kind of a deep threat, right? I think he's fallen off. I'm personally not interested in him, to be honest with you, Tim. But looking at the fair market value for who was the first guy you said?
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne. It was like showing $2.5 million. Now it's obviously going to be more than that, I would imagine. But yeah, I don't know, Jacob. What do you think about those two guys, man?
I'm a little more open to DJ Shark than KJ Osborne, but I just think that Love and Football says DJ Shark do. Don't do that. What about Gabe Davis? Anybody looked at him up? Is he on the free agent list right here? Otherwise 12 for this says Henry Ruggs is under 30 and quite fast. Wow. Okay.
You were asking Gabe Davis, right? Gabe Davis. Let's see here.
I'm looking for him now.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and skip to the last page here, I guess. I don't know, man. He's not showing up on unless I'm overlooking him here. He's not showing up on Spot Track's free agent list for wide receivers. I don't know why. DJ Shark is sitting right there, and DJ Shark is showing $1.5 million for him. Whether that proves to be accurate, who knows? They do already have Davante Adams is up though, and it's showing, like I said, for 2 years, $46 million, 23 average annual value, total guaranteed $26 million. So 56.5% of the contract is fully guaranteed.
I feel like at this point, if we don't get Godwin, we got to just focus on the draft and getting some big-bodied receivers. Look at your Jaden Higgins. Maybe Pat Bryant, those types of guys. Hey, even Tesla, man, 6'4", I'll take it. Let's go. I just think right now that we have a better chance of striking gold in the draft than bringing in some 5 to 10 year vet that just is limping around and needs to be put out to pasture.
Yeah. Jerm in the chat here says, in my opinion, I hope we address our D line before a receiver. My God, we need pass rush. Yeah, to me, I want to see a 3-tech. I'd be okay with a stellar edge opposite Rashawn Gary. That'd be great. But, LVN 11, over 11% quarterback pressure rate. The run defense played really well. I think we were tied for second in the league in yards per carry allowed. So the run defense seems to be somewhat shored up. To me, if you can get the 3-tech of the future, that's the way I would go. But again, Khalil Mack, if you sign Khalil Mack opposite Rashawn Gary and throw him in,
I'd love that. I would love that so much, man.
This might have to overpay for Khalil though.
Oh, absolutely.
Snatch him away from the Bears.
So for me, it would be Khalil Mack, and this is just free agency. Khalil Mack and Chris Godwin. I think that'd be money well spent.
Bro, can you
back up, hit the draft? And, and I don't want you to think that I'm like wide receiver crazy or edge crazy. This is just using the Bill Walsh blueprint of you'll overpay for great, never overpay for good. I think you're overpaying for great for both of those players. Other than them, it gets slim pickings. Like Joey Bosa's one, right? That's in talks with the Niners to go play with his brother Nick. Good player. I don't think he's great right now. Khalil Mack has been great. And the beautiful thing about the Khalil Mack situation is you get him for a year or two, get him for a 2-year deal where you can get out of it after one, kind of like this Davante deal here where only 56% of it's guaranteed. So you're only eating 6% on the second year type cap penalty. And if you want to, push it out, that's cool. If you want to front load it, whatever, you kind of get to start from scratch in 2 years. And this might get you over that hump to the next stage of the playoffs. But yeah, I think you make a great point, Jerm. I really do, man. Yeah. So
I wouldn't mind Hedrickson either. Like if we actually were able to put together a package for him. I mean, good Lord, could you imagine either Khalil or Hendrickson, and then if you were to get a Godwin, and then maybe even throw in a crazy thing like a DJ Reed or something like that, or a Paulson Adebo, you'd have to just wipe the permanent, grin off my face.
Yeah, Todd in the chat says, keep dreaming. First day Packers don't do anything normally. They did last year, but anytime Goody goes after a free agent, if he's going to be active in free agency, he actually does it on day one. If you're going after big names, he doesn't wait around. Like you guys remember his first year as GM, what did he do? Made a bunch of cuts that we weren't happy with, fans weren't happy with, to get rid of, some of our Packer greats. He went out and got Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos day one. Bang, put it in the bank. Last year, what did he do? Day one, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, right off the bat. I kind of feel the opposite there. We can agree to disagree there, Todd. I feel like if Goody sees someone like, hey, that's the player I want, he just goes right after him day one. If you don't see him go after someone in the first 24 to 48 hours, I feel like he's kind of laying back and looking for those discounts on the backside, maybe guys that are left over. When you start hearing players, here's a key to free agency too. I learned this from Michael Lombardi. When you start hearing players taking visits, when players say, hey, they're going to visit with this team, they're going to visit with that team. As soon as they start visiting, their market is in the tank, right? Yeah. Once they get to the point where they've got to go meet with coaches, meet with GMs, that's when boy, they're starting to reach, and that might be the time to swoop in and get a deal for sure. So Chris N says, keep Ja money. Tim, you'd be all right with that, wouldn't you, big dog?
Oh, I'd love that. You already know. It's my dude, man.
Took it down the sideline, turned over with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
I like what Dennis says here, too. Khalil Mack, Jacob, this goes hand in hand with what we've been saying. Khalil Mack is a great pass rusher, and he brings veteran leadership to the team. Really, really does, man. Loving football. Relax, guys. Tay's still available. Deontay. I appreciate that.
We haven't talked about Deontay Johnson much, have we?
Yeah, I haven't mentioned him, Tim, because I don't know why, but I was thinking that didn't he have a couple of negative interactions with two different teams, or did I just imagine? I might be thinking of someone else.
Well, he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they shipped him over to Carolina. Now it sounds like he's playing out as well last year,
right?
Yeah, and then he went to Baltimore. Yeah.
Mike Hebring in the chat says Matt Schneiden says the Packers were never in on DK. He reported that from the get-go too, Mike.
Yep.
We talked about it on this show. He was all over that. When everybody else was, biting on, man, the Packers are going after DK. He's like, I haven't talked to any. My sources within the building said, no way, they're not looking at him. So, yeah, there you go. Now, there was a pass rusher that inked a pretty big deal. It sounds like Mike Vrabel and one of his former players in Tennessee are going to link back up as Harold Landry signs a deal here. This is per Ari Mirov at My Sports Update on X. The Patriots are signing former Titans Pro Bowl outside linebacker Harold Landry to a 3-year deal worth $43.5 million, reuniting him with Mike Vrabel. We kind of talked about him. PFF grades, right? I think he had a decent sack stat, but yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about sacks. I think it's an overrated stat. I think that it's more about pressuring the quarterback consistently rather than getting a couple of finish plays, a year extra over other players. I want someone who's consistently disruptive, not someone who, whatever, every 2 games, all of a sudden, bang, he shows up, gets a sack, and then you don't hear from him again, right? And I feel like that's what PFF and the grades typically try to show you is, you're going to get a higher grade when you're more consistent as opposed to just, you go out and get 2 sacks a game and play like crap the rest of the snaps. PFF's going to be low on you. You know what I'm saying? I would rather have those players that are going to show up, play in and play out. Not necessarily on the stat sheet, but on the tape where it's like, wow, this dude's really filling his gap. He's really setting the edge. You see that run stop percentage significantly higher than other statistics. That's something that I think played a big role in how Green Bay really improved their defense last year. But I wasn't on the Harold Landry hype train, but how do you guys feel about that? Do you think he's worth 3-year, $43.5 million? And if anybody's going to get the most out of him, it's probably going to be Mike Vrabel for sure.
I mean, Vrabel had, a lot of time with him. I mean, Harold Landry had a great stint in his career where he was grading out very well, but I think that he's definitely kind of hit that peak, and now he's on the descending track of his career. But like you said, if anybody's going to get him to have a great year, flash in the pan type thing, it'd be his guy over there.
Right. 3-year deal, really a 2-year deal, probably, right? See what he's got left in the tank. I think it makes sense for the Patriots.
No. Loving Football says, is Ari Mirov the one who isn't a real person, or is that Dove Kleiman? That's Dove Kleiman. Some people call him Dov Kleiman. I've heard him called Dove Kleiman. He is actually a real person. Many people thought he wasn't for a long time. Now, listen, he's somewhat of a – I got to choose my words wisely here. Some people believe, not me, some people believe he is a shady character, and there's been some weird stuff that's happened behind the scenes. But Ari Mirov is a dude who started from the ground up, legit guy. Yeah. If I remember correctly, I want to say that Chris Collinsworth actually signed him on with PFF for a short stint to kind of be
Here's the guy.
Oh, you beat me to it too.
Exactly right. So, Artie Miroff is the real deal. You're thinking of, like I said, he was the one that everybody was kind of saying, oh, man,
Can I mention something real quick?
Yeah, man.
For some reason, we have like 600 people watching this right now. So if you guys could just take a second and hit that like button and also share it. Sharing is caring, and it helps a lot of other Packer fans find us, because otherwise, how would they find this great group of guys right here? Some say the best guys around.
He was the best guy around.
Daryl will be happy that we're highlighting this one. Daryl, this one's for you, buddy. Professor Cake says Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh makes too much sense now. It really does. Cross my mind. He and Mike Tomlin have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. Mm-hmm. Now all the West Coast teams have got their quarterbacks in place, right? So that whole West Coast stream's out of the question. Vegas is kind of close, obviously, but they go get Geno Smith now. That's out of the question. The Giants have been in the big mentioning point. The Vikings kind of entered. I want to say the Seahawks, that was one that entered as a dark horse earlier today, as potentially a landing spot for Aaron Rodgers, and that's on the West Coast. That might make more sense than any, but I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron ends up in Pittsburgh,
I mean, I could see it, but boy, look, that locker room is.
Could you imagine him trying to
that locker room? You might as well just get what's that guy? Dig up Aaron Hernandez, throw him in there as well.
Whoa, hey, easy.
Just saying.
Unbelievable. I was going to say something.
That's terrible.
That is terrible, Chuck. Could you imagine the first time that Aaron looks out at Pickens or DK and goes,
"Yeah,
how that's going to go?" Woo-wee. So there you go. Harold Landry obviously lands with the Patriots and back with Mike Vrabel. Now, we had a big quarterback deal that went down earlier today, obviously, right before we went live, as a matter of fact. I like it when teams reward their players like this. Josh Allen obviously had a huge year, right? NFL MVP. Ari Miroff tweeted out, breaking: the Bills and quarterback Josh Allen have agreed to a 6-year, $330 million contract that includes $250 million guaranteed per Adam Schefter. The reigning NFL MVP has cashed in with a monster deal. So I think he had like 2 or 3 years left on his contract, and they went out there and gave him that deal. I like that stuff. I think it really tells your team, hey, look, man, you go out and perform, we will reward you. And make no mistake about it, Josh Allen's the leader of the Bills. That's what that contract says too. So he's got complete control over that locker room. He's the big dog in charge. I like the rewarding, but boys, that's a lot of money in it. 6 years, $330.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a stat right now that says Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence are both making $55 million a year. It doesn't feel right. Quarterback market is weird. Is that? I guess that would be true, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So.
I mean, we talked about it before that, either you're going to pay these guys or you're going to wait a little bit and then have to pay them even more because the market keeps getting pushed up and up and up. And every year it seems like everybody gets a little shocked by these numbers. But I mean, you talk about a guy that deserves it. He's done all the right things from the start of his career. I mean, I remember when they drafted the shot of the Bills fans just losing their minds because they drafted Josh Allen. I can't remember who they wanted, but they wanted somebody that did not pan out, and they should be thanking their lucky stars that Josh Allen was kind enough to be like, all right, I'll take this whole organization, this whole city, put it on my back and go ahead and he has to figure out a way to beat Mahomes, but I think there's probably not a quarterback more deserving of getting the bag than him.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Tim? Anything to add to the Josh Allen contract there, big dog?
Man, $250 million, man. Holy cow.
That lot bill is going to be, I'd go ahead now. I would feel comfortable enough put the lot bill on auto pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. That and a handful of other bills probably as well.
Your Oval Office membership, all that. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the VIP card. Jacob knows all about those.
He orders guacamole, and they're like, it's extra. And he goes, I know.
Like, I know. And I'll take that second helping of avocado toast while I'm at it. No, good for him, man. And that's really Buffalo is just securing their future as well, right? They don't want to be in a situation where they're looking for a quarterback in a couple of years. So makes sense. he's gotten them pretty close, knocked on the door. You got to pay that man. So, yeah, good for him.
You know what's insane is even with that monster contract, Deshaun Watson, I think, is still right there as the biggest, largest quarterback contract. And everybody it's so hilarious that people didn't you tell me, Clayton, that like the scouts and all the agents and stuff, they're like, we just don't acknowledge that ever happened. That number doesn't exist as far as when you're negotiating.
I'll tell you what, Deshaun Watson's on a yacht somewhere in the ocean, counting that money, having the time of his life. So it's pretty real to him.
Yeah. What number were you talking about, Jacob? I was sending a text to Mandy, like, please shut the door for God's sake. What number were you specifically referring to there? Like it didn't matter. What was it you said?
They were just comparing the Deshaun Watson contract to Josh Allen as being the two largest for quarterbacks, and then there's a massive gap that falls off. Yeah, where was it? Most guaranteed money in signing history. $250 million Josh Allen, Buffalo, $230 million Deshaun Watson. And then it says huge gap, and then Joe Burrow with 146, and so on and so on. But that to me still is unreal.
Yeah, the players' union at one point, and maybe they followed through, I don't know, were threatening to file a grievance against the league for collusion, because once the Deshaun Watson contract happened from the Haslams in Cleveland, surprise, right? When that happened, the next thing you know, that should be the precedent set now, right? That should be like, okay, there's the new number. And the rest of the league, all of a sudden, at one point, it came together and was like, no, it's not. We're just going to pretend like it didn't even happen. That's why they were, accusing them of colluding. Listen, I don't blame them for colluding. You got one guy going rogue like that. That's not how we all feel. That's not the new market. He's an idiot. That's the dude who can't afford his house payment and went and bought a Porsche. That doesn't mean the rest of the neighborhood is car broke. You know what I mean? Like, not doing it. And just so happened that Porsche needed more than an alternator. You know what I'm saying? That thing is they're in a bad spot over there. But they'll sure shell out the cash. There's no doubt about that, man. Let's see. 2-0 for this says, do you think a few deals are already done, just waiting until it's legal to announce them? They're not supposed to be talking, those that are still under contract, right? The way this works, guys, these, and I know you guys know this, in case if there's one person out there that doesn't know this, then it's good information. These deals that you're seeing get done quick, teams have typically either granted the player, hey, go get a deal, or they went ahead and cut them loose so they could go ahead and sign a deal early. But those players that were under contract through this year, the new league year hasn't started yet, right? So obviously tomorrow that will begin. So they technically aren't supposed to be talking. And what that does is that gives the current team that they have under contract kind of full negotiating power with that player to try to re-sign them until the last second, right? So that's why I will say this, we're seeing more of this than I've ever seen before. Last year it seemed like it held off until bang, everything broke loose the day of free agency. This year it was totally different. It seemed like there was more of this going on, and a lot more players being granted freedom to go try to find a trade as well. So, but yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of that going on behind the scenes too over this. I think the whole tampering thing's silly. Like, it's happening. Teams are talking to players, coaches are talking to old players, teammates are talking to each other. Old teammates are, reaching out to each other. You think for a second that Josh Jacobs didn't reach out to Davante Adams and be like, hey, man, you should come to Green Bay. Like that stuff happens. I think it's silly to have a tampering, penalty or charge there. I just think it's kind of weird, but that's just me. We had another deal break here as nothing like crazy, but I believe is this Clay Matthews' what is it, his cousin, I think?
So. Yeah, I was just looking at
that. He was still playing. That's wild. So Ian Rappaport tweeted out a massive Falcons extension for one of their best and most durable players. Mike Garafolo tweeted out from NFL Network, the Falcons agreed to a 2-year, $45 million extension with left tackle Jake Matthews. Sources tell me in Rap Sheet. Matthews gets $38 million fully guaranteed the next 2 seasons, years 12 and 13 as Atlanta's front side protector. It says deal done by Ryan Williams, A1, and Athletes First. So obviously Jake Matthews inking a 2-year extension with the Atlanta Falcons. When I first seen that uniform, I went, "Oh, is this Drew Dalman? Did he sign with?" But yeah, so there's like I said, Jake Matthews getting him a 2-year extension. So if you guys want to hit the chat for a second, I will comb through and make sure no other news is broke up to the moment here.
Man, Jake Matthews has been so consistent his whole career. What a absolute elite pass blocker for the last almost 10 years. Just the lowest grade he's had was his rookie year where he barely played. But other than that, I mean, he is just consistently in the mid 80s pass blocking grade. That guy is a stud.
Yeah, completely agree. Looks like we're all cut up, man. It may have cooled off here now. So we may be good on all the updates.
Did you see, we've been talking about 3 techs and interior defensive line. Jerron Reed, we had him for a hot stint in Green Bay. And I feel like people did not really like the guy or give him much credit, but he went to Seattle and they loved him there, and they just re-signed him again, an extension. And I'm just wondering, is that one of those players that we maybe didn't give enough time, reps, attention, or were we just, is it a different fit? You know what I mean? Because that seems weird.
I felt like he was a decent player for the price. We got him for real cheap because Seattle didn't want to pay him, right? And then he came out and he stayed somewhat healthy. And obviously played decent for the Packers. That earned him another contract in Seattle. And I've seen that they re-signed him too. I'm not gonna BS you, Jacob. When I seen the number, I thought it was a little high for Jarran Reed, but they obviously like him. So kudos to him. Getting another contract out there in Seattle because it seems to be somewhat of a fit. It really does.
Man, his grades are not good. I shouldn't say they're not terrible, but they're not great. I mean, his best year of his whole career was last year, a 70.6. That was most of his career has been in the mid 60s and mid 50s.
Right. That's how I remembered him too, for sure. Let's see. Chuck points out Matthews is 31 years old as well, so it's pretty interesting there. It's cool to see him show a little more longevity there. He's been a solid player for the Falcons. I got a good buddy that's a big Falcons fan and really, really like Jake Matthews. Comes from that pedigree, that's for sure, man.
I was gonna say that family has got just NFL blood running through them.
Yeah.
Right. This video hit the interwebs earlier today, and boy, did it spark some conversation. Either people loved it or they hated it. This is showing Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, and Romeo Dobbs working on footwork, doing route run and stuff like that in the offseason here, kind of getting ready. Boy, I'm telling you, if you just focus on the feet, whether you think these guys are great receivers or not, think of you trying to do that as an average human being. Like, seriously, the coordination it takes out there is just wild to me. But they're out there working on that craft. I thought it was a positive thing. For some reason, a portion of the fan base want to take it, use it as an opportunity to go, oh, what about the drops? Okay. This is why we can't have nice things, Pepper. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we just appreciate the fact that, when Ja didn't show up the offseason stuff, when Aaron didn't show up the offseason stuff, we roasted them. These guys are out there working out, trying to get better, and we're roasting them. So I thought this was a positive thing, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I mean, you spelled Don Travion wrong, but besides that,
That's right. I forgot about that. Coach Lynn in the chat. I just like all three are working out together and not two of them. Bingo. Last year, it was just Jaden Reed and Dontavion. Probably a good sign that Dobby's out there with them, right?
I agree. Mm-hmm. And let's all remember that none of these guys are required to do a damn thing right now. This is their time of the year to, do whatever they want. And they're choosing to keep working on the craft. And it says a lot about some young receivers here. So I don't get the negativity seeing these guys work on routes and release and, things like that. So I think it's good. This is positive.
Yeah, something else positive in this clip, too, over this says Zane Anderson has great coverage in these clips. You just can't see it. I'm really excited to get Zane Anderson back, man. I think that's for the price that we got him back and the rest of the restricted free agents and all that. I think you got a good little core there on the bottom side of the roster. Now let's go add some top end talent if you can here tomorrow in the next couple of days, and obviously make a splash in the draft as well. One comment I did top earlier on Twitter was, look, you can be disappointed, but don't act surprised that we didn't go out and do something just astronomical, trading for a Myles Garrett or a DK Metcalf or something. Like if we build our hopes up thinking that we were going to do something that we'd never done in the past, that's on us. That's kind of is what it is, and it's just Goody, man. He's got ice in his veins. He's gonna hold pat and not overpay. He's looking for that deal, but he's willing to pay for the right guys for sure, man.
I feel like Packer fans too, like they start seeing the hustle and bustle of the free agent signings, and they get like that FOMO, and they're like, we got to do something, we got to sign someone, and it's like, no, dude, when you start panicking and doing stuff out of like without being, like you said, cool and rational and thinking about what actually makes sense for your team. You don't just like. I feel like too many fans are just like, well, we didn't sign anybody. Goody's the worst GM ever, blah, blah. No, dude, you just take a sit. Just sit down and just chill and just look at it rationally through the eyes of a guy that actually his butt is on the line if he pays somebody $30 million and he comes in and he plays like he's worth $2 million. You know what I mean? Like, just chill.
Definitely. Drew D in the chat says, now that the dust has settled, who do you think the Packers are going to get, if anybody? That's a great question, man. Great question.
As far as free agency?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
I think Goody's cooking up a big, fat, greasy nothing burger. I really do.
And, we started this offseason kind of talking about that. Like, last year we were very vocal on this show. It was, man, here's 2 or 3 guys we really like, right? Like, that would be worth the money. This year, I feel like the only 2 I'm coming up with is Khalil Mack and Godwin. It's been like that since day one. But I'm being 100% honest. I don't feel the same way about them that I did Xavier McKinney last year. Like, I'm not sitting there going, man, please go get him. Please go get him. It's just those are the 2 that make sense. But I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of hold that, and maybe we add a veteran or 2 at the the median level. I do know this: we need to get some age on this roster. I know it's a young man's game, and I get all that, but if we go after the youngest roster again, then we can't be up here screaming Super Bowl. We can't be up here going, all right, we're ready, boys, because we would be the first team in the history of the NFL, just like I said all last year, to win a Super Bowl with the youngest roster. So they got to get some veteran leadership on that team a little bit more. And I know these guys are going to be 1 year older, but we all know they're also going to add, anywhere from 7 to 10 prospects or 7 to 10 rookies. That's going to drive that age back down, and we're going to be right back in the same boat. So I do want to see some veteran leadership. Another one is Drew Dalman. Like Drew Dalman at center, if we went and gave him somewhere between $6 to $10 million, I'd be totally on board with that. Totally on board with that. But I also understand the point of if you really, really, really like what you see in Jacob Monk, or if you want to kick Elton to center and pop Jordan Morgan over to left guard and then build depth with the draft, I get that mindset too. I do. All I'm saying, I don't want to pile on Josh Myers too much, and there's still a chance that the market isn't there for him and Goody brings him back. But I feel like the offensive line would be better. This is my personal opinion. Would be better if Elton was playing center and Jordan Morgan was starting a left guard. I feel like that's an overall improvement with Josh Myers not playing center. That's just me personally. Now, if Josh Myers' market isn't there and you can get him for less than $5 million per, I wouldn't mind to see him back on the team if we create an open competition for center. That's the part that's bothered me about the whole Josh Myers experience, is there's never been a competition at center.
Right.
It's just
that's weird. I think he's going to get way too much money for us to justify bringing him back. I really do.
Feels like it. Yeah. And you know what, Jacob, as you're saying that too, if he's getting way more, than we could justify bringing him back for, Drew Dalman probably is too, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing is that's what I was listening to a few podcasts today, and they were talking about how Drew Dalman's clearly the best free agent center. So it's like when you're clearly the best free agent center, I have to think that his agent is going to be well versed enough to be like, look, man, I got 4 or 5 people trying to bring me to the dance. What are you gonna give me? What are you gonna do? And I think that that's going to be outpacing where a level. What did we say? 8 to 10 would be comfortable with. I know that's kind of where I would be. I think he's probably going to get more than that. But also, we won't go into it. We won't get specific. But it sounds like Odell Beckham Jr. is having himself quite a interesting night. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
What is it? Hold up now.
Wait a minute. That's terrible.
What
the hell does that mean?
He was just named in a court hearing connected to Sean Diddy Combs and was accused of some pretty horrible stuff.
Jacob, why are you bringing it up on here? We didn't ask details.
I'm just trying to watch it.
No, I got you, man. That is wild. Would not surprise me, man. That strange video that popped up of him and Justin Bieber a long time ago was really
bro.
That was me going, oh boy, this don't look good at all. So we got a couple things here from Diana Rossini. If I can find it, I know I've seen it here just a second ago. Let me just pop her Twitter page up here on the screen and explain to you guys what we're what we're hearing from her. I got to add her to my insiders list, man. She's been all over some of this stuff for sure. Diana Rossini been on the ball here lately. All right, so here we go. Many teams, you see right here, this bottom tweet, many teams around the league are waiting to see if wide receiver Chris Godwin will hit free agency or if Tampa will bring him back. The plan has always been to test free agency, but as we saw last year with Mike Evans, Tampa can get deals done. So it sounds like there's multiple teams interested in Chris Godwin. That's probably her getting that information from his camp, and they're trying to build value. I still think it could be true. So tomorrow, if by the time free agency officially opens tomorrow, the legal tampering period, when it opens, if he's not signed by Tampa, probably going to see multiple teams start to fire off offers on him. So this one right here is what really caught my attention. Diana Rossini tweeted out, the Steelers are expected to make an offer to pending free agent Sam Darnold per source. Many around the league believe Darnold will wind up in Seattle, but Pittsburgh is doing its due diligence on any potential options ahead of the new league year. This is the first time I've read this. Have you guys seen Sam Darnold potentially linked to Pittsburgh?
No.
That's interesting. Now, that could also be his camp saying, hey, Pittsburgh's interested in too, Seattle, to try to drive that price up. So could be a little bit of that going on there as well. So Holmes just, Lord have mercy. Jacob, this is your fault.
It's all Jacob's fault.
I'm just reporting the news, guys.
Field day now.
Hate the player, don't hate the game. Or hate the player, hate the game.
Just reporting the news, he said. It's going to be my new breaking news. We're not going to use the normal breaking news soundbite whenever Jacob's got new news. I'm just going to hit this.
Could be a crackhead. You got hold to the wrong stuff.
There you go.
You heard it from a fan right here.
I think this was interesting. Diana Rossini, I think they both work at The Athletic or for The Athletic, her and Matt Schneiden, but she retweeted this 36 minutes ago. This is probably what they were referring to with Matt Schneiden in the chat here. I'm told the Packers never made an offer to the Seahawks for DK Metcalf. Contrary to multiple reports, Brian Gutekunst and John Schneider are good friends from their time together in Green Bay, but a deal between the two for Metcalf was never a realistic possibility. So looking back, I feel like we did pretty damn good reporting on the DK rumors.
Yeah.
Because we always came back to the Matt Schneiden originally saying, hey, my sources are saying this ain't real. We still did the due diligence and talked about it, which you got to do, but I think we handled it pretty good for sure. So anything else you boys want to hit on, man? We could take it in any direction. Be nice if we can get another 20 minutes hanging out with the crew. I know the chat's lit up. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would hit that like button while you're in here. Go ahead, Jacob. Were you going to say something, man?
I haven't read about the wintry or the really warm weather there in Pittsburgh. Isn't that kind of it's almost as if money controlled and everything that he was saying was BS. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen Ryan's tweet, Ryan Schlip over at Packernet Podcast, but he tweeted out a video. You remember the intro video to the Drew Carey show, Cleveland Rocks?
Yeah.
This was tweeted out by Hater Report, and it said, Myles Garrett, Cleveland, trade me. I want to win a Super Bowl. Myles Garrett after a $123.5 million extension, and it's Drew Carey singing Cleveland Rocks.
Hey, look, if you offered me 100 and whatever, however many million, if you offered me $10,000, I am ashamed to say what I would do. All right,
Jacob, if the Minnesota Vikings offered you $10,000 to be a fan, would you do it?
No.
20,000.
No.
It got quiet.
The fact that you had to think pisses me off.
Like, what kind of fan do I sit alone in my house and I never let anybody see me, or like, do I got to be out on the street? Do I got to wear the jersey? You know,
see, we need a cricket soundbite. That would have been perfect right there. Well, he got quiet. It's like $20,000. I could buy 2 more shotguns. A lot of things went through that man's head just now, for sure.
Just work
Josh Martin said, "I can use
the office."
What's that?
He can just work a couple extra shifts at the office. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Josh Martin said he's thinking about
Josh.
20 G's too. He said a fan for life or just a year.
All right.
1 year. Let's call it a 3-year, $60,000 deal with 18 guaranteed.
I was going to say, that's guaranteed? All right.
Chuck called you a traitor, man. No, he called you a fair weather fan. Jake G126 said traitor. Man, y'all harsh in here.
God, man. Tell you what.
Good stuff, man. That broke
Not
me
enough.
up.
You live so close to him. I mean,
10,000. No. 20,000. No.
No. Well, what I guess what would you say is the most shocking signing of the day for you guys, or most maybe overpaid or shocking, or which one do you think was either the best or the worst? I mean,
that's I think the best question, Jacob, to ask there is what was the best signing, right? Like which signing was like, man, that was a good deal. The team did good there. I got to be real. None of them pop off the page to me like, wow, that was a good deal for the team.
Matthews
good players
in Atlanta.
I was going to say Matthews in Atlanta. Honestly, Aaron Jones in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
DK's not there. That's not the one, No. Josh Allen, I think there's some positive to rewarding him early, and now you can get out in front of that whole cap situation because all that guaranteed money, if you've got him under contract for that long, you can tack on 4 or 5 voidable years and lower that cap number down. You got stability in your quarterback room. Everybody knows who the leader of the organization is. There's a lot more positives than negatives with that whole situation, in my opinion. That's probably another one that sticks out to me. But yeah, unfortunately, I think the Aaron Jones deal is a pretty good deal there for the Vikings. For sure.
What do you guys think about this? And don't jump down my throat, chat. Okay, this is just a proposal here. No, it's not. It's not crazy at all. It says report: the Eagles are holding out hope to get at least a 4th-round pick for tight end Dallas Goedert.
Nope.
Now, 5th-round pick, you wouldn't be willing to give that for Dallas Goedert, and then you have a double tight end threat there. Tim, you don't like that?
No.
Tim, it's Dallas Goedert. Jacob, can you look up the PFF grades? I'm going to go to Dallas Goedert. He's not a free agent, right? So I'm going to have to actually go to his SPO track page. I'm going to see if I can figure out what his contract looks like. I feel like at one point Dallas Goedert was a good football player. I don't know if he still is.
This might surprise you here, Clayton. His grades starting in 2018 when he entered the league. Dallas Goedert is 6'5", 256 from the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Thank you, Tim. Did I change your mind now a little bit? 2018, 75.4. 2019, 82.7. 2020, 79.7. 2021, 90.7. 2022 was a 78.2. 2023, 71 flat. This last year was a 72.6.
Holy crap. Are you trying to convince me?
Why are you being a hater, Tim?
Explain the decline rapidly in the last 3 years if we're just going off the grades. He went from 80s and 90s to low 70s, and I'm supposed to be excited?
78, 71, then 72.
Yeah. Jacob said, what do you think about Dallas Goedert? And Tim said,
I want to pat you on the butt, and you keep my hand, so...
So his contract currently 1 year left on his deal. That's probably why they're looking to trade him, right? The cap hit this year is $12 million. They did the option proration, so I imagine that would probably travel. So if you were to trade for him, if I'm looking at it correctly here, workout bonus, everything involved, it looks like it'd be around $11 million. No, it'd probably be around $8 million against the cap if you brought him in.
Let's just pay Mercedes Lewis $2.5 million. Bring him back.
Tim, is he still in that rascal?
He's a blocker.
Yeah. If he can walk, can he walk? How old is he now?
He's only 40, man. What are you talking
he's probably
about?
Been watching the news.
40's the new 30.
He's probably watching the news going, man, I'm not going to get that Social Security check. I better keep playing. The government done spent that on a lot of stuff that we probably shouldn't even mention. But anyway, Coach Lynn, I'd rather Green Bay go for Michael Mayer. Hey,
that'd be cool.
I'd be on board with that for the right price. That's what I'm always saying here, of course. Yeah, when you talk tight end, the reason I didn't scoff at it, Jacob, is because I'm not sold on Musgrave. He's tougher than a $2 steak. Don't get me wrong. That dude, internal bleeding, finishing ball games and stuff, you got to love that about him. But if you're going to try to press, one way that you can reduce the damage of Christian Watson being out at least half, maybe 3/4 of the season is to really press into 12 personnel. Mm-hmm. And if you've got somebody like a Dallas Goedert there with Tucker Kraft, that could get interesting. That could get real interesting. But you could also get Harold Fannin Jr. in the draft. You can do something like that. And honestly, man, when you look at our draft board, if I were to put it up here real quick, and you kind of see where the Packers have spent a little bit of their time, in terms of visiting with prospects, like look at the cheese emojis over here, okay? So you got James Pierce Jr., right, edge defender, Colston Loveland tight end, right, defensive tackle, corner. And if you go on down, matter of fact, let's just sort it by tight end real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see how many tight ends they actually met with here. And these will be in the order of our grade, but we won't know exactly where they're ranked on the board doing it this way. But when you go to the tight end position, Ty Warren they didn't visit with, which we know he's going to be long gone. Colston Loveland they met with. They did not meet with Mason Taylor, but they did meet with Harold Fanning Jr. So, two of the top 5 tight ends the Packers have actually already met with. Kind of makes you wonder, they looking to do that in the second or third round again. And if you do that, let's say you take Harold Fanning Jr. in the third round. Let's say that's the pick, right? If you go that route, he's competing with Musgrave for that number 2 tight end spot. And now I would imagine it's either Ben Sims or Fitzpatrick that's going to have to go to the practice squad, right? So you build a little depth, which injury has been a problem trying to stay with 12 personnel and Luke battling those injuries. I don't think that would be a bad move at all. If you get someone like Harold Fanning Jr. that he could flex out and play that Y flex, play a little boundary, get out there and run a little receiver against a mismatch, whether it's a linebacker or a safety with that kind of height, because he's a pretty tall guy, right? Am I thinking right, Harold Fanning? And he like 6'4",
6'4" or something. Yeah.
You guys know who I love, Oronde Gadsden II. Jake, I see is in the chat here. Jake, what do you think about Oronde Gadsden? I'm in love with that dude. Yeah, I said it. You can clip it.
It don't matter. Jake Shavink says Colston Loveland at 23 season is upon us.
I was waiting for something.
The grade we've got on him, Jake, is 18.1. He would be well worth the 23rd pick, right? Matter of fact, if we go back to just sorting by grade, let's see where he lands exactly on our board here. Colston Loveland is sitting in the 15 spot for us. So that would make a whole lot of sense at 23. If they like him that much, right? I can't imagine they would spend too much time visiting him and expecting him to drop to, what's our second round pick, Tim? Is it 58? Am I thinking right? Something like that.
Let's see. We can put the banner back up.
Yeah,
54. I think it's 54.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hope Musgrave works out. And again, I appreciate and respect the fact that he was able to play through that injury somewhat. But, it's a tough league. That's a tough position. Real tough position. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to talk about here? We got a few more minutes. I'm going to go back to Twitter and just make sure we're not missing out on anything. I think this is awesome that we got all that breaking news while we were on the air. It was a lot of fun, man. Now it's saying the most. Go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry.
No, I just a lot of people in the chat are saying that Musgrave really hasn't gotten a great opportunity. He got hurt. Obviously had the situation where he was kind of like a baby deer out there, man. He couldn't find his footing. But I'm guilty of it, obviously, that I think we should probably not give up on him just yet. But I'm trying to look down the road. I mean, before you know it, that initial contract's up. And if he's not providing the type of juice that we need at that position for what we drafted him at, that's kind of my opinion there. Jake Shavink talks about Oronde Gadsden is a stud, body control, high point ability, essentially a big wide receiver. If I'm not mistaken, he did switch from receiver to tight end his freshman year. If they want him to contribute as a blocker and create positionless players in the formation, it could take some time. Okay.
Got it. Appreciate the update there. Let's pull up Musgrave here real quick on PFF. Let's take a quick gander. All right. PFF grade in 2023, 68.1 looked good. Last year, only 160 snaps. He dropped to a 47.1. So hopefully it works out for Musgrave. Last year was a huge step back, but again, 160 snaps as opposed to 502. You'd like to think he's closer to that 68 when healthy than he is that 47, right? So we'll see if he bounces back. Yeah, and if we were to go to, let me pull up the PFF big board real quick, and let's look at some of these tight ends since we were talking about it here, and see exactly what they look like in terms of their grades. I know, Jacob, you're always reading them off, but it's kind of hard for people to understand. They see the visualization. It's a little bit easier to understand how good a player is. So let's go to, this is the PFF big board. Again, it's not everything, but a lot of information here for us to dive into. Ty Warren is the number 1 tight end. He's currently ranked 8th on their big board. Colston Loveland is ranked 29th for them. We've got him significantly higher. His PFF grades 57, 75, and 85. Next is Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. They've got him in the 58 spot. His PFF grades 54, 48, 71. That 48 only 69 snaps that year. Mason Taylor, 58, 60, and 67. He's in the 71 spot for PFF. Terrence Ferguson, we talked about him a little bit earlier today. He's in the 76 spot. 6'5", 255, 64, 67, and 73 for him. Here's Harold Fanning Jr. They got him listed at 6'4". Jim, he's only 20 years old, man.
That's what I said, man.
Goody DiCaprio, baby.
We were talking about that, and he's an absolute freak too.
He's in the 99 spot for them, right?
Yep.
PFF grades 68, 85, 95, the top-ranked tight end in all of college football the last 2 years. Goody approves here, Goody DiCaprio.
What's interesting, too, is if you read Harold Fanning's summary right there, they say his blocking reps are good enough to keep him in line as a tight end, too, or as a wing back on occasion. That seems perfect for what we would ask him to do, right?
No block, no rock.
Hey, there you go. Gunnar Helm out of Texas, 6'5", 250. He's in the 113 spot. His PFF grades are dookie. We'll keep it moving. Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame, 6'5", 260. He's built like a tank. PFF grade 65, jumped to a 79, and then last year dropped back down to a 65. Played the most snaps he's ever played last year too, so it wasn't a small sample size. Being at 141, that might be a late round dude that you if you really fall in love with the athleticism. Benjamin Urosek, 6'4", 245 out of Georgia. He's in the 145 spot, 60, 66, and 60. Jake Browningstool in the 152 spot. Jackson Halls out of Georgia Tech in the 162 spot. We've got Thomas Fadone, the second out of Nebraska, 169. Caden Prieskorn, if I'm saying that right, Prieskorn, 6'6", 255 in the 190 spot. Jalen Conyers.
I like him.
Yeah, Conyers is one of those guys that kind of stood out to me a little bit as far as because you can see the drop off at tight end. It's real similar to like what we talked about with corner.
Yep.
There's a good pool of talent, but if you don't go early, these guys they're gonna fly off the board, and you're gonna be picking up scraps at the end. So, but I like Conyers here towards the bottom of this list. Feel like he's got good grades. I mean, we're just basing it off PFF, but he might be a late round steal.
Yeah, CJ Dupree out of Bama, 215. He's gotten his grades pretty bad the last 2 years. Luke Lackey, I think is how you say the name, 6'6", 247 out of Iowa. He's gotten worse every year according to the PFF grades. Here's your boy, Aronde Gadsden. How the hell does he grade out 82, 80, 82, but then they have him at 225 on the PFF Big Board? Somebody explain that to me.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
That's what I'm saying, man. I would love that guy. Clip it.
I can't figure it out.
Explain it. I can't. I mean, it defies logic. It really does.
21.7, but I mean, decent sized school. Like they said, I think the biggest thing that his knock is that he's not a great blocker, but he's willing. And at 6'5", if we put 10 pounds on him, you can't tell me that we can't at least teach him how to chip, Yeah.
Here's what the scouting report said. Gadsden is intriguing due to being a potential size mismatch as a big slot receiver, but his blocking impact is a net negative, and his lack of agility resulted in low separation rates. He will likely be a late day 3 pick or an undrafted free agent for an offense that likes his size. If he was so bad at separation and lacked in agility, why did you score him so high? Like, how did that's what blows my mind. It's like, I don't.
He broke the Syracuse. Sorry, he broke the Syracuse receiving record his last year or two, like almost 1,000 yards receiving. I think he had 7 touchdowns. I don't know what else they want him to do.
Yeah, could be a big wide receiver drafted late. That's what it kind of feels like there, right? So, All right. So that's your tight end preview. Didn't have that in the show notes, but I'm glad we hit it real quick for sure. Let me take one more look at the news and we'll wrap up here. Says this is Tom Pelissero. DK Metcalf wanted a fresh start, a new contract, most important, a chance to win. He didn't mention that before. He did not, according to his representation, say anything about playing in warm climate. Metcalf is all in on playing in Pittsburgh in the rugged AFC North. So he didn't say that. I ain't say that. He said, don't put that word in my mouth right there.
Well, who reported it then? Let's roast them.
Yeah, who was that? Do y'all remember? Who was it that reported that? We reported it, didn't we?
We know it came out of Seattle. We know that.
Let's see who it was. I'm trying to think because we tweeted that out. When I tweeted it out, I actually mentioned, why didn't he mention anything about wanting to win there, right? I'm trying to go back in time here and see if I could find it. I'm not seeing it anywhere. I think was it not Diana Rossini? It was Diana Rossini. It was a video we played, remember?
Yeah.
That's what it was, yeah. It was Diana Rossini on Gojo and Golic. So
there you go.
Yeah. Said there's a lot of teams interested, but after I put that first and third report out, I started getting texts from teams like, yeah, right, way too much. I don't think they land on that. I just think for right now, their asking price, that's their asking price. So we'll see if that lowers a bit. But in that video is where she said, and I actually, in my quote tweet, I kept waiting for her to say DK wants to win. So he doesn't want to play in cold weather. He wants to be paid top receiver money, and he wants to play with a stable quarterback. Interesting. There's not a stable quarterback in Pittsburgh right now. It's not warm weather. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Nope. Sure doesn't.
Does anything make sense this time of year, Tim? It's lying.
No, that's why 90% of this crap I just ignore because we all find out what the truth is when the time is right. And tomorrow's going to be no exception. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow for sure.
It is. And we're going to try to go live as quick as we can tomorrow if a bunch of news breaks. I explained earlier on the morning show that got a lot going on tomorrow. Mother-in-law, open heart surgery. So we're going to be at the hospital. I'm going to be taking care of some stuff at work as well. So if everything works out the way I think it will, there's a chance I can do kind of a late afternoon show in case news did break. Last year we were able to kind of stick around the office and be able to hit on stuff as it came in. It's going to be a little bit more difficult this year. So I know many people reached out, thoughts and prayers, all that. Really, really appreciate y'all taking the time to do that for sure. But if y'all would hit that like button, we're about to crack 700. If everybody hit that like button right now, we'd probably boost us over 700. There'll be some people on YouTube going, why is this popping up on my feed? And why does he sound like an ignorant redneck? And that'll get us over 700, and that's good enough, right? So I'm willing to take that tongue lashing. All right. Anything else, fellas, as we wrap up here? Tim, you got the floor, sir.
I'm glad we dodged the bullet. We didn't overpay for DK. I'm happy. I'll take it. Jacob, anything?
No, I completely agree. And in that same vein, as much as I would have loved to have the reunion of Davante back in the green and gold, I'm not willing to pay what he got. So good for him. Good for Aaron Jones. We'll have our time. Don't burn your hair. Don't freak out. I feel like we need to just wait till tomorrow. And even if something doesn't happen tomorrow, just be chill, be cool. We got this.
Everything's going to be all right. And
all right.
We appreciate everybody in the chat not telling us to do dirty things to Goody. Okay.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate that. But anyway, that's it, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. We'll see y'all tomorrow sometime. If news breaks, I'll try to get us a show out really, really early. You'll just see us go live. We will definitely be back no later than 7 p.m. Central tomorrow to talk about all of the news around the league, whether Green Bay made a move or not. The other, most recent signings around the North, everything. We'll be back here for it tomorrow night. Thank y'all so much. Hit that like button. We will talk to you tomorrow.
And we go.
Bye, guys.